Welcome to the Straight Out of Home Video podcast, part of the Geeky Waffle Network. Welcome to a very special crossover episode between our podcast, Straight Out of Home Video, and our brand new show, What the Hair. Today, we're talking about the 2017 direct-to-home movie, Tangled Before Ever After. I'm Candace, and with me are my co-hosts, Arezou.
Hello.
Krista.
Hey.
And Maggie.
Hello.
All the waffles are here. Well, some of the waffles are here. A lot of waffles are here.
Many waffles.
Many waffles. And we're here to talk about, again, Tangled. I'm utterly obsessed, which includes this TV movie, which is more like a pilot movie. It's the 2D animated movie that takes place between the original Walt Disney animation studio film Tangled and the short Tangled Ever After. It takes place 6 months after the original film, and we get to see how Eugene and Rapunzel are adapting to royal life. This movie was released on DVD on April 11th, 2017, and February 5th, 2018 in the United States and United Kingdoms, respectively. So that's why it's a straight out of home video podcast episode, too. Okay, does anyone want to try to give a quick summary of this movie? I usually get Bree to do it, but Bree's not here today.
Krista, you do it.
Okay. All right.
It's your intonation. It's your
initiation into the waffle.
I'm not ready, but okay, we're just going to go with it.
Yeah.
So the one thing about Disney movies is you see them live happily ever after. You never know what happens. What are the consequences from that first film? And these are the consequences. This is what happens when Rapunzel and Eugene go off to live in the castle. She gets to reconnect with her parents, and you get to see what does happen with someone with a lot of trauma who's been locked up in a tower is now basically locked up in a castle and has to become a princess. Someone who has, no people abilities and now has to talk to fancy people. So we see her struggling to fit into royal life and her princess duties. We see her overprotective father really struggling with his trauma of his daughter being kidnapped and being way too overprotective. And we see other people in the kingdom decide that they need to get their revenge on the king right now. And surprise, surprise, Rapunzel's hair comes back.
Okay, so what do you all think about Rapunzel growing her hair back? Do you feel like it's a marketing ploy?
Yes.
Yeah, it's 100% a marketing ploy. They knew what little girls wanted to see, and little boys. They knew what their audience wanted to see from Rapunzel, and they just rolled with it. They're like, no, she grew it back.
It felt a little bit like a cheat, but then again, since this is the start to the TV show, it made sense that you'd want Rapunzel with her fantastic magical hair to go have adventures. If this had just been a sequel and there hadn't been a TV show after it, it would have felt just kind of like a cheat.
Yeah, and I feel
Rapunzel's
like
hair
explained.
Stresses me out because the length of it varies depending on what they need it to do.
It's
so it's cascading.
Hair,
I know, but they have it cascading all around the room, and then in Tangled, those girls managed to braid it so it's ankle length, and I'm like, hair gets shorter when you braid it. It doesn't get that much shorter.
Those little girls are talented, Arezou.
Yeah, I figured they folded the hair,
tripled it up and then braided it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's supposed to be 70 feet of hair, which stresses me out as someone who can't keep 2 feet of hair.
Yeah,
I did appreciate in this movie at least that her hair gets caught on something, because all of the first movie, I'm like, that hair going through the forest should have rocks in it, should have bird poop, dead squirrels
living in there.
I did think it was fun. I don't think it does this in the movie, but I could be wrong. But when she's opening the carriage door, towards the end of the movie, and the hair wraps itself around the handle and pulls, I'm like, is that new? I don't remember. I enjoyed that feature of her hair.
It's much more a part of Rapunzel in this series. It grabs onto things. It can be used to swing around more, and it's different. We find out it's different than the hair she had before, because this time you can't just cut it like Eugene did.
Yeah, it's stronger. Yeah. It's like a tentacle. Well, it's kind of a Mary Sue. It can do whatever it wants. It's more like a tentacle.
It's a tentacle.
This is getting into weird territory.
What did you all think about the switch to 2D animation? Because the original Tangled is CGI.
It's cute. I like the animation.
I really love 2D.
I think it's good because it doesn't get you to compare the movie to this, because I feel like that's like, if we go to Aladdin to Return of Jafar, like the animation is so bad when you compare the two, but you can't compare 2D and 3D really.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, the animation in the original Tangled is so beautiful and so amazing. Like, nothing could ever be as good as that. But yeah, I didn't feel like I was offended by the animation in this because it was so different. You know, it's like for a TV show and different medium. But yeah, compared to like, yeah, Return to Jafar, where you're actually cringing as you're watching it.
I agree with Maggie. I like 2D animation and like just as a style in general, because you know that's the style I grew up with.
Exactly.
And I don't think they would have had the budget to sustain the 3D level of animation that they did in the movie anyway. So I like that they're not trying to make it like 90s Disney animation. It is very much its own style, but it still has that cozy 2D quality. So I liked it.
It's supposed to be like we're in Rapunzel's journal, and that this is her art form, and this is her story.
Girls got skills.
Girls just got skills. What did you think of the like new character, Cassandra?
I love
the
her.
handmaiden.
I love Cassandra. I love all of the new characters in this.
Oh, well, we get Lady Kane, who's played by another Broadway star, Laura Bettinelli, who's a Tony Award-winning actress. And she is against King Frederick because King Frederick went a little too far with his trauma and took it out on the people of Corona.
But it was like very sexy of him.
Oh, God.
No.
It's coming out already.
It's coming out.
I mean,
Okay.
she's right. Let her speak.
Oh, no.
Yes!
Okay, well, that's going to be towards the end.
Okay,
Let's
save
work
it.
our
We'll
way
save
up
it.
to that. Let me have some more
Cassandra-
caffeine first.
I liked
Yeah.
Lady Kane though. I liked her vibe. I liked
Yeah,
her
she got that
overall look.
energy.
She gave me a little bit of like, I don't know if it was the hair, but like Meg from Hercules, if Meg was like kind of evil.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, just something about the hair. I just kind of liked it.
So, yeah, Cassandra is played by Eden Espinosa, another Broadway star. She was like the second Alfie, how do you say in Wicked?
Alphaba.
Elphaba, yes. And she is amazing, and I love her.
She's fantastic. And I was so happy when she finally got to change out of that dress partway through the movie when they went on their adventure. Because you're just like, no, it just doesn't suit her. Like, that's not her. And then all of a sudden she's like in the trousers and like in the outfit. And you're like, oh, good. It's going to go down now. Like, yes.
Oh, the whole wind in my hair sequence when they're out adventuring, I just think is lovely. And the music. Yeah, so all the music for this movie and the series is by Alan Menken and Glenn Slater, the original people who did the original movie. So many people from the original are working on this, like Mandy Moore and Zachary Levi. Kind of knew it was going to be good because they got these two stars back for a whole TV series, you know?
Yeah. I think it would have been noticeable, especially if it wasn't Mandy Moore and Zachary Levi, like if they were trying to get sound-alikes, because we know from doing straight out of home video that anytime they try to do sound-alikes, it doesn't land. And I think this being so recent, I think that would have been extremely noticeable, if that made sense.
Except for Jim Cummings. Maybe if they could have Jim Cummings do Mandy Moore, because he can do
he
anybody's
could
voice.
pull it off.
Does Winnie the Pooh, does Scar, can do Mandy Moore, you know.
Hondo. Oh, speaking of Star Wars people, D. Bradley Baker, who plays all the clones in the Clone Wars, Rebels, everything, plays Pascal in this show.
Shocked. I'm shocked. They got D. Bradley
Pascal
Baker
talk?
to do an animal again.
He makes sounds. Squeaks.
Barely.
He talks more. He talks more in the series.
They just record him, like get him in to like just record a batch
I
of
was like-
stuff, and they just cycle it in when they need it.
I was like, do they make noises when his eyebrow goes up or something? I was like, I don't remember noises.
Okay, well, let's talk about King Frederick.
Let's talk about King Frederick.
Oh,
So,
King Frederick.
first of all, he's tall.
Oh my god.
Dark
He's
and
dark
handsome.
haired. He's grumpy and stern, and he just has her best interests at heart. And it's just like, oh no, have I disappointed you? What are you gonna do about it?
Oh no.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
He's
but
played by Clancy Brown.
He's
who
played
also
by
plays-
Savage Opress.
He's played by Mr. Krabs.
I
Savage Opress.
love Clancy Brown.
He's amazing. He's been in everything. His voice is in everything.
I've been
He's
in the
got
same room as
sexy
him.
You
And I
what?
was like, I've been in the same room as him, and I was like, oh my god, it's Clancy Brown. He's played every hot dad on television.
He's canonically a hot dad. He's canonically a hot Dathomirian. So what is not to love about
He's
King
also
Frederick?
a crab.
Yeah,
Look,
I
hey,
can't not hear the
look,
crab voice.
look. He's a dad too.
Mr. Krabs is a good father, just trying his best.
To keep that Krabby Patty secret.
Look, if
safe.
that's his whole business so that he can support his beloved daughter, then why is he going to let this recipe get away?
Okay. So the mother is played by Julie Bowen, who is from Modern Family. She plays Claire.
Love her.
And yeah, I really loved seeing Rapunzel with her parents. Krista and I talked about this in our first episode of What the Hair. Is like Rapunzel actually has both her parents alive, and she has like a bonus crazy step mother,
Adopted mother, yeah.
yeah. And like we don't see that again until like Moana.
Yeah. Speaking of hot dads, let's talk about Moana's dad. now,
Okay,
Oh my
let's
gosh.
not. Okay, and is that because he's played by a certain someone?
I mean, it helps, but that's not why.
So innocent.
Okay, so I can't claim that I've listened to every Geeky Waffle episode out there, but I feel like the episodes just always tend to go in this direction somehow.
It's me. It's me.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
It makes
too.
sense now.
Yeah.
Just
And we-
reeling them back.
We love her for that. And then when I'm here, it's even worse.
Yeah,
We
just
feed off each other and then it
Just
just
provoke
builds
her.
and builds and builds.
Okay, something interesting that I was reminded of in this movie, because I've seen this movie 100 times and also the series too, is it suggests that the king and queens were the ones who gave Rapunzel her name, because in the flashback voice, at least, we hear the king shouting out for his daughter, Rapunzel. So I was like, Gothel didn't even change her name.
Gothel's dumb because Gothel didn't change her birthday either.
Yeah.
So she laid the path for Rapunzel to go home.
Yeah, we talked about that quite a bit. Like, she could have just made this very easy on herself, lied about a couple more things, and would have been good.
Yeah. She wasn't, it's not like she's opposed to lying, you know? But okay, I will admit, when I first saw this, I was very suspicious of Cassandra, because she takes Rapunzel out to see these weird, mysterious rocks, and then it just felt very sus to me. But of course, I was protective of Rapunzel.
But that's the thing. Disney has conditioned you to not trust anyone.
Also, Disney princesses don't usually have human best friends.
No.
That too.
True.
And I really appreciate that they do that. And a lot of the series is focused on her. It's more focused on her relationship with Cassandra than Eugene. Wouldn't you say, Maggie?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, like the original movie and the short about her and Eugene. But this series is about her and Cass. And also just Rapunzel in general, trying to like figure out how to live outside the tower. And do any of y'all feel like that's going to be us when all of this is over?
Yes.
There are certain things I wouldn't have done pre-pandemic that I've already forgotten I'm not supposed to do in public, like visibly sing along to music that I hear in the store.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something you're really supposed to do in public, but I have a mask on. Who knows what I'm doing?
I dance in grocery store aisles.
I've been talking to the dog in public.
I have less of a filter in public.
Yeah.
Oh, I say all the time.
Yep.
You can beat that.
Let's talk about current events. So this is a first spoken reference to the Kingdom of Corona.
That was
Yes.
fun.
And
So ironic.
then like in the series, and I don't know who's in this movie, but like multiple people go, I love Corona. Like, oh.
It's the Kingdom of Corona, whose princess is dealing with prolonged periods of isolation and social awkwardness. So a lot of it is hitting very close to home.
All of her activities, baking, painting, I
Reading,
did. Yeah, reading, knitting.
talking to her pet.
I did during, especially the major part of lockdown.
Yeah.
Some of us are going back into lockdown. Hey.
Yay.
Hashtag blessed.
Woohoo.
Oh,
So I
gosh.
felt bad for Rapunzel early on when her parents are like, okay, you have to be this perfect princess now, and you have to greet all these like guests that are
Dignitaries.
coming to the coronation. And I'm like, in the last 6 months, did they not give her just some basic etiquette classes? Like, then she would have known not to say those things to them. So I'm like, really, it's on the king and queen. If they thought a girl that like lived in a tower her whole life was gonna know how to like talk to these people in like the proper way.
Or even just wearing shoes.
Yeah.
But I feel like Cassandra like alludes to like she's like sighing at Rapunzel when she gets back. Like we've talked about this kind of thing. And we do get some flashbacks in the series and we find out a little bit about what Rapunzel did before this movie. I don't want to give too much away.
So maybe they did try and give her some etiquette classes and then just didn't stick.
It doesn't take.
Just doesn't take. She was too busy
Yeah, because I feel like
painting.
Cassandra's been trying to get that girl in shoes for 6 months. Just it's not gonna happen. Oh, that just makes me nervous. Her feet are always bare.
But I mean, she probably has some really good calluses built up on those
Oh, yeah.
puppies. I mean, she's fine.
I used to walk around outside barefoot. It's fine. I still walk around outside barefoot. Who am I kidding?
So something major that happens in this movie is Eugene proposes.
Oh God.
Okay, he proposes
God.
during her coronation. So I like Eugene's great, but way to make something that's not about you suddenly all about you.
Mm-hmm.
And then in front of all those people too. You already know this girl is just getting used to being around crowds.
Another point where she's very relatable to us right now.
Yeah.
I just got full on like secondhand embarrassment the moment he started talking. Like I got flashbacks to like The Office with like Michael Scott. Like it was that bad. And
He
you know,
just
then the
kept
proposal
talking and talking.
talking. And like if he had just shut up after the first few lines, she probably would have said yes, but he had to keep hammering home like, we will never leave this utopia. And it just goes to show that like public proposals are like 99 times out of 100 the worst possible idea.
Also, a really great representation of like a panic attack setting in.
Mhm.
Yes.
Because the way that it like showed her looking for her escape route and like the way that the camera shifted even in 2D, I was like, yes, somebody gets it.
Yeah. And I felt like they also like they don't go into it a ton, but you can tell like the king still has unresolved trauma from her being kidnapped and him trying to keep her safe, and he's going to all these links that aren't really working very well, and she just wants to get out of there after being locked up for so long and feeling locked up again. So I like that they kind of address those things like subtly.
It's just a trauma fest.
It is.
But I really love what they did was like, so Rapunzel is like 18 and a half because it's been 6 months after her birthday. She has not done anything. Well, Eugene has been around the world thieving, doing whatever he wants. I think he's about 5 years older than her. I have it somewhere.
He's 26. She's 18 and he's 26.
In the series, they change it.
Oh, I see.
So I think he's like 24 right now, which
Okay.
makes it a little bit better.
They're both adults. It's fine.
He meets her when she's 17.
They're both adults when they get together. It's fine.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. It's back then too. So let's just go that
There
way.
we go.
And it just like brings up like that good point where he's ready to settle down because he's done it all. He knows what's out there. Well, she doesn't. And I'm glad to see that that they're at different places in their lives. And I love what Eugene said to actually Pascal. He thought he was pouring his heart out to Rapunzel. And what he says, like, you really feel for him. Like, you understand he was an orphan. He grew up on the streets a lot of the time. He doesn't have anything permanent. And I bet he's terrified. The king someday is just going to be like, get out of my castle.
Yeah.
And it's not about like, he does love Rapunzel, but I feel like he's insecure himself too.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes all these characters so relatable.
Yeah. And I like seeing some like healthy, like believable conflict between a couple. They're not like grossly misunderstanding each other after like one word or something. They're just in different places in their life and kind of need different things. And they come together and realize, okay, well, you need to be patient with me. And, like you need to understand me and they need to talk. But I love that that's like relatable and not just like ridiculous drama for no reason.
So it's not Beauty and the Beast, Belle's Magical World then.
I am purposely not watching that movie because I love the original so much, and I don't want it to
That's
be.
a good call. That's a good call. It's a lot of that.
Eugene thinks he's 22 at this time. I'm not going to say anymore.
He thinks he's 22.
He's 22.
Was he kidnapped and his fake mother also lied to him about like his age or something?
Well, his fake mother at least knew what she was doing.
It's a long story. He's actually 23, but he thinks he's 22.
Great. I look forward to figuring out what you're talking about.
We get to season 3, and Chris is like,
oh, this random thing they said in the second episode finally makes sense, and I totally remembered it.
Yeah, no, I'll bring it up again when we get there.
Can we talk about my favorite character? Because we have not mentioned him at all, and that is Pauline, and that is Maximus. And once again in this movie, he proves that he is the most reliable and useful character in the series. He saves Rapunzel when the bridge is collapsing, when they're at the coronation ceremony and they realize things are going badly. Cassandra tells Pascal to like, go get Max. And then he stops Lady Kane from escaping. So basically they should rename the show Maximus, the horse that gets done.
He's a good boy.
He's amazing.
He is a good boy. And I love that he's like, he just goes in the castle all the time. Like, he's up in Rapunzel's room with Cassandra trying to help her, like, cut her hair.
He's captain of the guard. Like, he goes up to the 2 guards, yells and horse at one of them for not having a regulation outfit, and then they leave so he can guard her.
I love the power this horse has.
Because who's going to say no to him?
Exactly. Oh, and honestly, I like burst out laughing when Eugene comes in and sees all the hair, and he tries to tell Rapunzel, like, you shouldn't hide anything from the people you love. And then Queen Ariana knocks on the door and he's like, hide your hair, woman. That
was great.
The best.
Yeah, this show has kept a lot of the comedy from the original movie. I mean, the original movie was just so perfect with all its comic timing. I don't know if anything could be exactly as perfect as that, but they still hit a lot of those beats.
Yeah, I feel like the same feel is here. The same, I don't know, je ne sais quoi. Since we get some French in this one too.
Which I appreciate.
You appreciate as a Canadian that they added some French?
As a somebody who is fluent in French, yeah.
Do you remember how to say there's more in you?
Plus c'est en vous.
Yes. Which makes me think maybe Queen Ariana is from France because Rapunzel's a German tale. So
yeah,
interesting.
Queen Ariana moved from France.
Yeah, to marry a hot guy, right? Yeah.
Queen Ariana needs to watch her back.
Anyway, I also really enjoyed the cameo by the frying pan.
Yes,
it comes back in the end to save the day. And Eugene using it as like a boomerang while not like realistic at all is hilarious. And I'm like, can we now call it like a flying pan?
Oh God.
I'm sorry, I wrote that in my notes. I had to say it.
You had to.
I had to.
Okay, you guys ready for some Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh God.
Okay, so there's no critic score. There are like 3 critics reviews. They're all positive and fresh. There's not enough to do an official rating. So there is an audience score. Who would like to do the first guess? It's Price is Right rules. Don't go over.
81%.
Okay.
74.
Krista?
I already looked.
Oh, okay. Well, y'all are over. It got 69%.
Nice.
And
69.
Oh my God.
Oh gosh.
Stop the count. Stop the count. That's all it's going to say.
Most people were saying, yeah, it's good as the other one. Some people don't like the 2D animation. Amy Ratcliffe of IGN, yes, we all know her, said Tangled Before Ever After is an enjoyable and entertaining return to Corona. The elements you liked from the film are all present, and they have the opportunity to continue and develop in a new story.
We liked Amy.
Yeah, we like Amy. She's a Star Wars writer. But yeah, overall, Krista, you excited to get to the series?
Yes. Well, I think this is a great introduction. I mean, if this was like a standalone sequel, you know, it wouldn't have worked as well. But since, you know, it's leading into the series, it sets up the show really well. So yeah. I'm excited.
Arezou, got you interested in watching any of the series?
I've seen some of the series. When it came out, I was living in Switzerland at the time, and it was hard to get. So my roommate and I, Chelsea, who has been on the network before, Chelsea and I watched like the first 8 episodes, and then they kind of became hard to find. But I'm curious to like start it again and keep going.
Okay, we're going to be adding Arezou into some invites.
Yeah.
For this episode. And Maggie has seen the series.
I have. I loved it.
I loved it too. It's just so good. I'm so excited to rewatch it. And then make Krista rewatch it. Oh, watch.
So for those of you that have seen it like all the way through and like watching this again, like knowing what happens, do you feel like it sets up everything really well? Do you feel like there's things that you caught now that maybe you didn't the first time without giving away too many spoilers?
I feel like it sets up it very well. It sets up a mystery, but then it also answers the mysteries as it goes along. So it's not just like mystery, mystery, mystery. Because I feel like kids would be too overwhelmed for that. Also, I would just be ticked. Lost is one of the only shows I stopped watching because they just didn't answer anything. I was like, I'm done. But yeah, I think it does a good job. This is a good job setting up. And we have more characters to come. Like one of my favorites, Varian, is in the next episode. And he's interesting, isn't he, Maggie?
Yes.
He's also voiced by Jeremy Jordan, who I have a gigantic crush on.
I love Jeremy Jordan.
It makes it really awkward because he's like supposed to be a child in here, but he has his manly voice.
He hit puberty early.
He hit it early. He did some experiments and he was just like, this voice is here. But I love they cast Jeremy Jordan because one of the creators of the show's daughters like was a huge fan of his. So it's just, and one of the creators' daughters is named Ariana, and that's how they got the name for the queen.
Aww.
Which was cute.
I like that.
But yeah, I am really excited. Krista, what are you looking forward to?
Well, you mentioned the queen. I think I'm looking forward to seeing more development with her and Rapunzel's relationship. They focused a lot on the king and Rapunzel not being a conflict, so I'm sure that's going to keep continuing. But I would love to see more with the queen because I feel like she kind of gets Rapunzel a lot better right now. And wouldn't mind her kind of like telling the king to like slow it down a bit. And just adventures and seeing more of Cassandra. I think she's a really fun character and adds a lot to the mix. And her and Eugene, I'm sure, will be at each other's throats for a while.
Like the whole time.
The whole time.
The whole
I can
time.
believe that.
All right. Arezou, are you looking forward to
starting the show?
Series?
Yeah, I'm sort of evaluating what shows I need to binge because I've decided to take this week off. Mostly off. What shows to like binge, and I'm trying to gauge like when I can fit Tangled in because I feel like it's one of those you can just watch all the way through.
Oh yeah, it's very easy to like not stop.
But I'm absolutely going to watch this now.
Okay,
so good.
It's a very solid Disney show. I think this is the best sequel. I will say it, the best sequel, Disney sequel. Direct to home movie sequel. Yes. Beauty and the Beast, Enchanted Christmas. I'm sorry.
Enchanted Christmas and King of Thieves are things that exist, and yet you make this statement.
King of Thieves.
I'm just saying.
I can't help it. This is so well done, and it is worthy of Tangled. 100%.
I agree.
Thank you, Maggie.
100%.
Okay. So, Arezou, where can people find you online?
Online, you can find me at, I forgot my Twitter, at...
It's your name, Arezou.
I almost said at Arezou D2. That's not right. You can find me on Twitter at Arezou. My screen name is Arezou D2, so you will also see that if you look for me. So yeah, that's the best place to find me. And over at the Geeky Waffle, hosting the Space Waffle Show and writing on the site. And I write a couple other places now too. One of which I'm hesitant to jinx, but you'll see it on my Twitter if you check.
Krista, do you have anything online that you don't mind people knowing about?
You can find me fangirling about this Tangled TV show in the future on this podcast.
Okay. Maggie, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Maggie of the Town. I am also a host of the Starbucks lovers, a Taylor Swift podcast on the Geeky Waffle Network, and we will be back in the new year.
Great. And yeah, you can find us at thegeekywaffle.com, geeky_waffle on Twitter, the Geeky Waffle everywhere else, including Facebook, Patreon, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the fun places. And yeah, make sure to subscribe to What the Hair if you're listening to this on home video. It will be in the show notes. You can find me at Candace is a Geek on Twitter. And we hope you all have a happily ever after until your hair grows back.